Work hard for what you want in life.
You work hard for what you want in life.
That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say.
That you treat people with dignity and respect.
That you treat people with respect.
Reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard.
The strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Work hard.
Work hard. Work hard. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Black Girl Boss Podcast. Milan is out living her best life right now on vacation for her birthday. So I thought, why not get together with my accountability partners, my sisters in success, the people y'all hear me talk about on every single episode. Since we were already together, I was like, let's just record an episode of the podcast so people could really understand the importance of masterminding, the importance of having accountability partners, the importance of sisters in success, and then also give them a little preview of what they're going to get in October while we're at the Be Blogalicious conference. Yes. So shout out to us in Miami, South Beach. Irma didn't cancel anything. So I'm just so excited to have all of you guys on the show. So maybe we should do like if this is like an old school 106 in Park and like a group come on and you be like, everybody introduce yourself and tell us what you do. Like, you never seen that on one of them shows? Yeah. So let's do that. So let's start with your favorite life coach over here to my left.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Tit. No, for real. Hey everybody. So I'm Letitia, you guys. I'm so happy to be on the Black Girl Podcast again. I feel famous. Like I'm about to be internationally known again, for real. No, I'm kidding. But so I'm a life coach. I am a believer that everybody deserves to live their best life. I help people create self-care plans that work for their lives and really help people who are dream chasers and go-getters really get to their best life and what they want for their lives. So I am so happy to be here with my girls, and I feel like Destiny's Child went. It's like Destiny's Child in here right now. But yeah, so I'm gonna turn it over to, I guess, Tiana.
Yeah. Hey y'all, my name is Peaches, and I'm the best. All right, so my name is Tiana Blyden, and I am the Proverbs 31 boss. I was just saying before we got on here that everybody thinks that all I do is pray, change diapers, and go on dates with my husband. The truth of the matter is that I've really dominated the PR industry in Baltimore. I had a coaching business before this. I've had successful businesses, but the Proverbs 31 Boss Academy is near and dear to my heart because it teaches women how to not be the Mary Jane, not to choose between a career and a family or a business and a family, but just to really do it all with God being the center. So I have the Proverbs 31 Boss system to do that, and that's what I teach women.
Hey you guys, I'm Misha Saunders, also known as Misha the Body Chemist. So I'll help you heal your mind, your body, and your soul. So I have two programs. My programs are called, one is Break Up to Shape Up, helping women that went through a traumatic breakup or divorce, heal through fitness and personal development. But however, you don't have to be going through a breakup to join my program. I'm here for you. Let's get that revenge body. And then I have Moxie Moves, helping the elderly get their mojo back. We're doing fitness and brain gains.
Okay, with the elevator pitches, everybody. Okay, 30 seconds.
I'm moving the mic in the wrong direction.
But yes, you guys, I think it's just so amazing to have all of y'all here. So in Miami, we're going to be talking about the importance of masterminding. So somebody really explained to the audience, I think we've maybe covered this on it or mentioned it in like an episode before, but somebody really tell what a mastermind actually is. Tiana? Yes, because
I knew that they were going to elect me for this. So a mastermind is essentially like an intellectual bank, if you will. It's where
yes.
It's where
yes.
This is where people come and they own what it is that their gifts and their talents are. They bring it to a group, and the way that it works is you don't necessarily have to be great at that if you have a person in your mastermind group that is awesome at that thing. So you basically are building a group of people who share some of your strengths, but also have some of the things that you struggle with so that they can help you. They make you a all around better entrepreneur, a better person, a better leader. And that's what a mastermind is all about. I do want to mention that, there was a mastermind that we probably didn't know about before, where you had like Henry Ford, where you had Napoleon Hill. Some of if you watch the Men Who Built America documentary. And one thing that was significant for me is when I found out that Andrew Carnegie, who was the steel guru, he never had any industry experience in the steel industry, but somebody in his mastermind group did. So it's very important that you own what it is that you offer and bring to the table, but that you connect with people who have the knowledge and they have the wisdom in those areas in which you need it. So that's what a mastermind is all about, just an intellectual bank. Everybody's putting in, but everybody's bank accounts and relationships are growing from the connections.
That's a really great definition. And I think that this is something, once you explain it, something that people will understand that they need, but not necessarily know how to find that mastermind group. Because I was telling you guys earlier, I think that entrepreneurship is so trendy now that everybody isn't necessarily as serious as we are, or Milan is, or people who are like, this is life. There is nothing else. Everybody isn't necessarily that serious, because people tell me while I'm posting, I'm up at 5 a.m., rise and grind, people talking about how motivating that is to them, or how I inspire them, or what keeps me motivated. It's like, I have to get up and grind every day because there isn't anything else. There is no going back to a job. You know what I mean? There is no, I'll figure it out. There isn't anything except for what I'm working towards, so there's that sense of urgency that is enough to wake me up every single morning. So I think that finding people who are like-minded, that's what I love about you guys. Nobody in this group has said anything about applying for another job. Like, for y'all that don't know, we all are self-employed, and nobody has said anything about, I think I want to go back to work. That's never, we've had some moments where we're like, I don't feel like doing anything today, or, today is really difficult for me, or we share like, my money is funny as I don't know what right now. Like, we have those moments together, but it's never, I think I'm going to apply for a job. No, that never, it's so crazy that never comes to anybody's mind, but that just shows how serious we all are about our businesses and our success. So anybody, maybe Tish, because you kind of tip this off, starting this group, the connections queen over here. So how do people find and build those connections to get something as powerful as we have here?
So I would say really to build genuine connections first, like get to know people who are serious. So I was going to entrepreneurship, networking, and all kinds of stuff all the time, and I would meet people and build relationship with them. But it definitely was something special about you guys that made me say, okay, no, I need to connect with them and build with them. So when the opportunity presented itself to become accountability partners, it made sense. But really getting out there and really getting to know people and building genuine connections with people. As entrepreneurs, you can't be out here like thinking you're a lone wolf all the time. Like, you can't do it by yourself. If you try to do it by yourself, you're not going to get very far. So you have to get out there and start meeting people and getting to know people and put yourself in the spaces where people who are like you are going to be. So we all met because we all had the same business coach. Obviously, we was all invested because we wasn't paying her pennies, like, so we were all invested in what we really wanted to do. And just based off of the type of program we were in a program that was focused specifically on people who wanted to be full-time entrepreneurs. So really, I would suggest for you to get into those kind of spaces where there are people who are like-minded. So whether it's going to an entrepreneur event in your city. Sometimes you got to go outside of your city and really just learning to grow in that way, growing your connections and growing your relationships. Because I wouldn't have found you guys if I was sitting at home on my computer just working in my business and trying to do it all by myself. Like, you have to get out there and really get to know people, and then find people who have the same mind as you, but not the same necessarily gifts as you or skills as you. I think each one of us, what's special about us is we all come from a different angle, but it works for what we do. We got our comedians, we got our marketers, you know, we all joke and laugh and we're fun in that way. But like, we also have, you know, the spirituality aspect. We have the, like, are you taking care of yourself aspect? We have the, okay, that's a great idea, but how are you going to execute aspect? We got the, are you working out when you say you're going to work out aspect? So it's really a well-rounded, and it's more than well-rounded. It's really a group of women here that are able to support each other in ways that out in the world, you have to pay people for. Right. Like, yeah. I would have to pay Tatum big money for the kind of marketing idea she gives. I would have to pay Misha for training, for the advice Tiana gives, not just spiritual advice, but just the PR background and everything that she can give you from the business perspective. You have to pay big bucks for it. And because we have come together in the same sense of Andrew Carnegie or Henry Ford and all those guys who did it, they were in a space together to really build, you know, to build what is the new world, really. Like they all created what we are living in now. And so that is what I hope that our group, and I know that our group will do, will be making a difference in the world long after we are having these meetings and being on these podcasts together and doing all that. So get together and get to know some people and really get to know yourself too, so that you can bring your strengths to the table as well.
Okay. Did y'all have anything to add?
No, I think one of the things I do want to say is that you talked about a lot about how we met. I think sometimes the investment is the separator. Absolutely. The investment is the separator because we were all investing into our businesses. We were investing the time. We weren't just paying for it and not coming to the events. We were showing up. We were taking notes. We were asking questions. We were interacting. And the investment is the separator when you're thinking about building a mastermind group or connecting with people. You have to look at the monetary investment, the way that they invest time, and also the way that they take their business seriously. I think at the core of what you were saying, you kind of connected with us because of the investment that we were making already. So I just wanted to point that out.
And realizing that a person who is willing to make a $20 investment is a different person that's willing to make a $500, $800, $1,000 investment every single month. Not every once in a while, like not once a year, but every month making that investment in themselves. Those people are serious about what they're trying to do. So making sure that you use that discernment too in the investment.
So how did you find these events, Tish? Because you are everywhere. So how do you find these events and determine if the type of people that you want to connect with are going to be there?
So initially, I think I was just literally on Eventbrite, like, okay, here's an event in DC that is a women's empowerment or some kind of conference. I really like conferences a lot. Conferences are an investment. It's not necessarily the free event. It's the not event. Happy hour. Yeah, it's not the happy hour event. So I don't go to those. Like I do go to those, but I don't my expectations for networking at a happy hour are not that high. But really going to conferences or going to different women's empowerment and things like that, you can find them on Eventbrite. It's really that easy. You don't have to be that deep. But if you have Instagram, you'll see people posting about their events. And if it looks like something where you could really get something out of it, I would say attending those kind of events is where I started. And now I know the people who are hosting events, so I show up to support people. That's another piece, like making sure you're supporting other people who are in business as well. But that's how I found the events. I just started going to those kind of things. And once I started making that smaller investment, I was more willing to make the bigger investments and knowing who to invest in because I would see their faces everywhere. So.
Okay, cool. So I want to talk, we covered this, of course, in our video that we're going to be showing at Blogalicious, but I want everybody to kind of speak to what life was like before this mastermind group, because it's one thing to be in a group like this, but this isn't, we talk about this all the time, this isn't normal. Like a lot of women preach about women empowerment or preach about sisterhood and all of that. I mean, we see it on TV all the time, and then they're secretly jealous, they're plotting against you. Like there's none of that between us at all. You know what I mean? We really support each other to the point where we'll send each other clients. Like clients we could have probably tried to sell ourselves. Like, no, Tish is better for you. Go talk to Tish. You need Tish. Or go talk to Tiana or talk to Misha. Like we really do that and support each other in a way that is just not necessarily common. So what was life like so people could kind of understand the contrast of trying to do things for yourself or being involved in mastermind groups that might be a little bit different than this? But Misha, because you'll be quiet and let us talk, but I'm gonna make you talk. What was life like for you before the mastermind, and what attracted you to the rest of us?
Okay, so life before the mastermind, I wasn't that focused in. Before, I would just be in the fog. Like when I would get upset about my business, I wouldn't do anything, and I would wait weeks to, implement an idea that I had, and I didn't have anyone to push me. And then when I, joined my business coaching program, I was afraid to reach out to someone that I thought that could help me. But I was like, maybe if I, talk to them, they might steal my idea. So I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't ready to get vulnerable because I was afraid that everything that I had, worked for, all the ideas that I came up with would be stolen. So, having the mastermind group and, helped me to be more vulnerable with being able to share my ideas. But before, I didn't have that person to go to. And when you don't have that person to go to share your ideas, sometimes you'll second guess yourself and feel like, oh, I can't do this. And if you're just don't have nobody else to push you, sometimes you'll forget about all those good ideas you had, and then you'll turn around and see somebody else pushing that idea that you had before, and then you're upset with yourself. So sometimes things like that will happen, but being in the group has pushed me even further, and I have seen things change from being in the group.
Awesome. T?
For me, I was in a lot of, mostly everywhere that I went in my life, I was like the cream of the crop. When they say that if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room.
Yeah.
I've been in the wrong room for most of my life. As a matter of fact, when I think about my life, there was a point in which I settled for being mediocre, because being mediocre was still better than the rest of the people around me.
Yeah.
So I think when I think about the mastermind, or prior to the mastermind, I had all of these great ideas, but I didn't necessarily have to execute them because I was already doing great without executing them. So, and being in this mastermind has helped me because not only are you guys owning your area of expertise, but you care about me, you want me to succeed. It probably even more than I want myself to succeed sometimes, and are willing to help. But if I tell you guys that I'm going to do something, I have to execute it. As a matter of fact, sometimes I think about the ideas and if I actually want to execute them before I share them. Because once I share them, it's like, hey, T, what are you doing with that? And it doesn't matter that I'm already great. And it doesn't matter that I can pray, or it doesn't matter that I had a successful business before. What matters is that I told y'all that I was going to do this and I need to get it done. So for me, prior to the mastermind, I didn't have that. I didn't have anybody holding me accountable for executing. I could tell you all the dreams and visions that I had, but nobody was like, okay, so how you going to get this done? When is it going to be done by? And actually checking me on that date when it needs to be done. And so that was me prior, and it has been such a blessing because now I can see myself executing way more, just because when I tell somebody I'm going to do something and they're going to be checking for me, I'm not going to them with my tail between my legs telling them that I didn't get it done. Yeah. That is not happening. So telling you guys and knowing that you're going to hold my feet to the fire makes me like, as soon as I tell them this, what's step A? What's step one? Because I need to move towards that.
Yeah, so for me, like similar to Tiana, I've always been the person who is motivating and encouraging everybody else. And I didn't have anybody on the other side of me doing that. Now, I'm not saying at all that I didn't have support. I had plenty of cheerleaders in my life. People believe in me, and I'm grateful for that. But I didn't have anybody who was seeing the gaps for me and seeing where I could do better, or really holding me, like Tiana said, accountable to what I said I was going to do. I would be like, okay, I'm going to do this book one day, right? Or I'm going to put out these t-shirts. And if I put out the t-shirts, I did it because I did it, not because someone was holding me accountable for it. So I really before this, I didn't have that structure of just having people to hold you accountable and support you in that kind of way. It's almost like having a table with one leg and it doesn't stand. Like, so you guys are the additional legs to my table that help me stand in what I want to do as not only an entrepreneur, but also what kind of woman I want to be in this world, what kind of leader I want to be, what kind of influence I want to have in the world as well. Before that, I had people who were cheering me on every time I had an idea, or like when I wanted to go to school, or I was going to get it done. People know me, so they know Tish says she's going to do it, so she's going to do it. But nobody said Tish says she's going to do it, but when is she going to do it? Mm-hmm. So that is what this mastermind in particular has created for me, is really being able to say, okay, like, you go, girl, and when you going to go. So that is really what it's been for me.
Yeah, I mean, similar to both of you guys, for me, growing up, I've always done what I needed to do. Like, I've always been an executor. And I always got good grades. I always did what I was supposed to do. I was always responsible. So everybody had high expectations of me, or everybody knew I was going to be fine. Like, oh, Tatum's going to be good. She's going to take care of it. But at the same time, I had higher goals for myself. Like, even what Milan and I were talking about on last week's episode, where she was saying, we were in reference to branding, she was talking about you should really think about who you want to be named next to. And I was saying, like, that's hard for me to really articulate, because who you think that I should be mentioned next to is probably not even close to who I know I'm going to be. Like, and my mindset is even to the point where you don't need to mention me next to anybody, because me by myself is going to be the person you want to be mentioned next to. Yeah. And I know that might even come off a little like maybe arrogant, but that's just the level of confidence that I have and the security I have of who God called me to be. And it's something that I'm not even going to fold on or even try to minimize to make anybody else comfortable, because I work so hard to be where I am right now. But kind of dialing back, because of my mindset has been in a way where I knew I was supposed to do amazing things in this world, everybody else, like Tiana said, I was the smartest person in the room, and everybody else looked to me for certain things. I could never be vulnerable. You know, I could never have a certain level of not being perfect, because then I would be like, I'm not living up to the expectations that people may have of me when I'm just human. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm confident. Yeah, I know that there's great calling on my life. Yeah, I know I'm going to be super successful. But at the same time, I'm not going to hit the mark every single time. I'm not going to get an A+ on every single test. Yeah. So that being comfortable with admitting that and being comfortable in not being perfect was very difficult for me. So especially when it came to other people. So with you guys, the fact that I can text y'all and be like, despite how everybody says I'm the executor and things like that, the fact that I can text y'all and be like, I don't really feel like doing nothing today. Like, yeah, I woke up on time, but I promise you, I don't feel like doing nothing, like, at all. You know, and thank God I've been able to create a level of discipline within myself to where even on those days I still get things done. But to even just be able to let that out and to tell y'all has just been just amazing for me. It's just being able to just be myself. As hard as that, as like easy as that should be, it's not always that easy. And even with this podcast platform, people put myself, Milan, everybody we have on this show on a certain pedestal to where it's like, yo, we are human. Like, y'all may think that we're at a certain level, but understand that came by laying things brick by brick, one at a time, messing up, fixing it. Like, we're just regular people at the end of the day. All of us are. But one thing I just love about you guys is my ability to just be human and not have to be perfect. You know, and then in addition to that, y'all still challenge me to do better, because I might be great in a certain area, but there's always going to be areas that you're weak in. So for me to tell y'all, like, let's say I met my revenue goals this week. I'm hype. I'm excited. Tish will be like, so what are you going to do to celebrate? I'm like, ain't nobody asked you. Nobody asked you about celebrating, Tish. Like, but she makes sure that you are, and especially somebody like me who doesn't smell the roses, just making sure that I actually take care of myself and I actually be nice to myself, as she says. Those type of things are important, and I just really appreciate you guys and just this bond that we have and how we're all able to just come together and, you know, be ourselves. Does somebody have
Can we get some
say?
tissue?
Oh my gosh. Why every time women come together, it gotta be some tears?
I mean, because it's not going to really be any tears, but I think that this is really, it shouldn't be, but this is abnormal. Mm-hmm. It's abnormal to be able to be vulnerable enough to share how you feel about someone or, you know, a group of women without it being any shade, without it being any competition, mm-hmm. without it being saying like, you are my sister, I just love you for who you are, mm-hmm. and I just appreciate you being here because I needed you. Mm-hmm. I prayed for you to come. Mm-hmm. It is not very often that this happens and that it ends well. I do want to mention that the reason why we are actually going to Blogalicious is because Tish saw a call for speakers and she didn't selfishly do it. And not that it would have been selfish because she just would have been handling her business. But she saw it as an opportunity to elevate all of us. Mm-hmm. So that is the type of sisterhood that we have here. Mm-hmm. It is, how can I do this for me, but how can I help my sister? Mm-hmm. If there is another call for speakers and 2 or 3 people, all of us want to do a submission for it, it's no shade. Like, hey, you should do this from this angle. I'm going to do it from this angle. That is how this group is. And, you know, it is nothing but the grace of God that we were able to pray for this and get it. And really just in a year, me and Tish just had our 1 year friendversary on Facebook. And it feel like I've known her for 7 years because you can't get this vulnerable without it being a divine connection. Mm-hmm. You can't connect with somebody and be able to say, especially what Tatum was saying, being seen as perfect, to be able to let your hair down and say, hey, I don't feel like doing nothing today. And just being your vulnerable self. Or, Misha, I got ideas, but hey, I ain't executing them. I need you guys to help me with this. It takes a level of vulnerability to ask for help. Mm-hmm. It takes a level of vulnerability, and I thank God for you guys. It really is something that, like, what does African proverb say? If you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like that is something that is definitely true for the relationship that we have here.
And I think to make it tangible for other people, because this is special between us, but it's not impossible for other people to find for themselves. Everybody has those. Well, most of us have girlfriends that we have been friends with lifelong that are just never going anywhere, right? Like, you can go months without talking and still be your friend. If you can create that kind of friendship and accountability in your business endeavors, that is what's really going to move you forward. So to make it tangible, making sure that you're looking for the characteristics in people that are not just what you need, but also that are the things that you're praying for, right? Like the characteristics in people. I want to be more spiritually full, and God brought me a Tiana. I want to be more of an executor. God brought me Tatum. I want to get my body together, and I want to have fun while doing it. God brought me Misha. So really being strategic about what you're looking for in your life and not being a user. So I think it's really important to emphasize that, because in this group, we don't have any of that. Nobody is using somebody like, oh, I'm going to just get connected with her because she could do this, this, and this for me. You can't go into anything like that with that kind of mindset, because you've messed up the dynamic within itself. If you go into it like, oh, well, what can they do for me? And what can I do? What can I take from them? If you go in with a taker's mindset, you've already ruined the dynamic of the mastermind. So remember not to go in with a taker's mindset, being a giver and showing up for other people and supporting them and doing those kind of things that would really help develop the relationship, because no one here is a taker. You know, we all are supportive and givers and able to really do that for one another. So if you're listening to this, doing a self-evaluation of yourself, seeing what you need, but also reminding yourself not to be a taker. Be a giver and give what you can in any group that you're in, and find those people that connect with you in a genuine way. So I just wanted to add that really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to Life Coach Tish for the tangibles. But I really want to talk about you guys, and mine too, just our individual growth as women prior to us coming together, because I feel like in order for us to have this type of dynamic where it's not that competitive type of thing, where nobody is really like secretly plotting on the other person, where it's really just genuine and honest and just a bunch of love and respect and support between each other, it takes 4 whole people by themselves for us to come together and have something like this. And a mistake that a lot of people make in relationships in general, you see it happen mostly in romantic relationships, but it happens in friendships and things like that as well, to where you're a broken person trying to bring that brokenness to somebody else and trying to figure out why that's not working, you know. And I think one of the strongest things about us as a unit is that we are really whole people by ourselves. We are confident women. We are sure of who we are. We're sure of our gifts. We're sure of who God called us to be. We're all of this by ourselves. So us coming together is unstoppable because of who we are as individuals. So and it took our own individual journeys to self-discovery to even get there. And I think that is just so amazing, because before, we've already said this is a divine connection. We've already prayed for what we have before it got here. But God had to make sure that we were ready for each other. Because if I still had, or if any of us still had low self-esteem and we were haters and we got together, none of this would be, we would have cussed each other out. We would have been broke up and all of this other stuff by now. So what were you guys' individual journeys to self-discovery like, to become the woman that you are? Misha, let's start with you. Because I was like, okay, who going first?
All right. My journey to self-discovery. So I would say it took this traumatic breakup I went through to truly find myself. This year and half of last year has been my selfish year, just focusing on me and what I need to do. But as far as being in a group, it can be, sometimes I'll say like, before I had went through my breakup, I'll be like, oh, I can't be around a whole bunch of women. It's too much drama. They're catty, blah, 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 this and that. But once I started to get deeper and serious about entrepreneurship, I started going to events and I joined the coaching program. And I seen that, oh, there are some serious women. They're not catty. They're not like loving hip hop, don't fuss all the time, and craziness like that. So I think, as going to different events helped me to become a better person, and giving myself that me time and personal development, like doing stuff with myself, helped me to grow. And I seen the change of the people I started hanging around, the stuff I would do on a daily basis, and how I started taking things more serious. So I said, as far as picking who you surround yourself around, and when you feel that something is not right, pull yourself away from that and stop trying to make people like you if they don't like you. And if it doesn't work, it's okay. That's not the person you're supposed to be connected with. So, just having those connections that really are divine and not fake connections. Don't force anything, because when you try to force things, that's when everything starts to go wrong. So that's my feedback on growth.
So how did the breakup, you mentioned the breakup. So how did you build yourself back up? Like aside from connecting with other people, what work did you do on yourself to be able to be who you are right now?
As far as the breakup, what did I do? So in the beginning, I messed up. I'll talk to y'all more about that and break up the shape up. I had went through a rebound phase, and I realized when I went through that rebound phase, my rebound had sent me to the ER. Like, once I stopped talking to that rebound, I started thinking all about,
What you mean?
He didn't really send me to the ER, but my mindset was like, I was distraught and I was crazy, and not like insane crazy, but it felt like I was breaking up with my ex all over again. So I was like, you know what, Misha, for a whole year, no dating, just focus on you. Do everything that you said you was going to do now. So I had been procrastinating about taking my certification and studying. So after my breakup, I started studying and focusing on what I needed to get done. I did a lot more reading. I joined my coaching program. I joined my coach's coaching program. And then I started going to more entrepreneur events, and I just started exercising more and doing all those things that I was supposed to do before that I hadn't done. I went back to my old to-do list and started focusing on old things that I had never completed.
So Tiana, what about you? Like, how did you become this wife, mother, entrepreneur, success, this Proverbs 31 boss? Like, how did you get there?
My journey was just like most people, based off of trial and error. Mm-hmm. I don't think that if I wouldn't have done the self-work, that I would have been able to even receive the love that I received from this group, receive the love that I received from my husband, or just be able to ask for help or anything. So basically the journey that it took me to get here, I went through a phase of, which sounds similar to Misha. I was in a relationship which was the opposite of what my relationship is with my husband now. Mm-hmm. It was very demeaning. It was very disrespectful, and my self-esteem was very, very low. And I wouldn't have been able to welcome any relationships like this then. So what ended up happening is, and that's why I talk to you guys a lot about fasting, I ended up fasting. I got to know God. I started doing research. I was looking at different religions and getting closer to God and learning who I was and accepting who I was and healing the situations from the past helped me to be able to just own who I am, mm-hmm. and to show up as my little powerful self, and not apologize for wanting to do things in excellence, and not apologize for being smart, or not apologize for being a good person and a person that I feel is worthy of success, as long as I continue to put God first. And so the journey has just been a journey of self-discovery. But one thing that I've learned is God never takes you to any area of your life without first putting it in there. So before you can even accept relationships like we have in this mastermind, you have to become a good friend. Mm-hmm. You have to be a person who is able to receive it before he'll put you into, when he actually puts you there, into a great relationship. Where's a romantic relationship, he puts what you need to be successful in that relationship. And the same thing with a business idea. So for me, it all starts with getting to know God, and to get to know God is to get to know yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of own the rest of your life from there.
How about you?
So my personal journey, like, really started probably about 3 years ago today. Not really, but like the deeper part of me really being more introspective and figuring out what was going on with me started about 3 years ago. And really it was like Misha, breakup and trying to figure out who I am now that I'm out of college, and all of these different things have changed. I'm in my first job for real, in my first like career job. And so really trying to figure out who I was and who I wanted to be in this world, and feeling and get into a space where it was like, I'm not living up to my own expectation of who I am and who I will be. This is not what God put in my heart. Everybody knows I have a tattoo on my wrist that I got when I was 18 years old that says star. And the reason I got the tattoo was me telling myself, like, you wasn't a loser in high school, don't be a loser in life. Like, literally is why I got this tattoo. So I felt like a loser. Like, I literally felt like I was losing at life. And so I had to go on this journey of like, who are you as Letitia Rochelle Carr? Like, who are you for real? And not what people think you should be, and all of those kind of things. So I had to go through a whole self-discovery that really started there. And I started writing. I started really digging into what I was thinking. Like me writing was my ability to show what I was thinking, what all those thoughts that were in my mind, getting it onto paper. And from there, I started, talking more to people and getting connected with the right people. And I started going to more events, like Misha said. I started getting to know what other people were doing, people who were my age. What are they doing? What are they creating in the world? What kind of impact are they trying to make? And once I saw that, I was like, oh, girl, you could do that. I would be at events and be like, okay, she's 25, you're 25, I can do that too. Mm-hmm. And so I had to really get in the mindset of, you know what, you can do that. I'm from West Virginia. Not a lot of people are doing the kind of things that I'm doing. So I had to get out of that environment. I had to literally move myself out of the state I'm from and where I had always lived, move to DC and really start stepping into my own greatness and not being ashamed, not feeling like, just because you want to do more doesn't mean you're trying to be better than other people and that you think you're better than other people. That was a serious thing I had to get over, like that shame of wanting to do better and be better and grow and be so much bigger than the small town mindset that I'm from. So I did that. I moved. I moved out. I moved into the city where people were movers and thinkers and growers and started connecting with those kind of people. And once I did that, it was like my whole life shifted. I changed my mindset so much. There was so much work on my mindset. I beat myself up a lot in my head and I had to stop that. So I did that through getting a life coach. She helped me to stop doing that negative reel in my head of like, I have this voice in my head that tells me I'm a loser all the time because I have this tattoo to tell, so like to remind myself. So I had to remind myself, you're not lazy. You're not a loser. Like I had to start writing affirmations that told myself I was a winner and I was going to do well and I deserved to prosper. And so I did a lot of that work. I had to unfollow stuff on social media that was negative and not pouring into me. I had to unfollow the baller alerts and all that and start following more inspirational things. So that's the kind of work that I did over the last 3 years and really hardcore in the last year. 2016, I focused solely on personal development and just growing my mindset and shifting my mindset into being a leader's mindset, a producer mindset, and not just a consumer mindset, and just creating that kind of thought. So that's been my journey over the last 3 years, and I'm still growing. I'm still learning every day.
That's amazing. Shout out to you. You got a bunch of likes on, little hearts and stuff on Instagram Live. But so for me, I've gone through a few journeys thus far. The first one was really when I got to college, just out of dealing with the situation and the environment and things that I went through growing up. When I got to college, it was just figuring out who I am at all, aside from being in that environment. Like, who am I? What do I want out of life? That was when I just really started to grow as a woman and to heal from a lot of the trauma and things that I went through and really just get to know myself and what I really wanted out of life. And then even after that, when I graduated college, I felt like I had a good understanding of me, of who Tatum is, what she wants. But it wasn't until I decided to be an entrepreneur or when Entrepreneur called me, because I'm sure I didn't choose this life. Like, this life for sure chose me. The thug life chose me. But when I became an entrepreneur, things started changing. I was, praying for God, like I said before, for people who understood what I was going through, for people who understood my journey. But then I really just saw more flaws in myself that I didn't necessarily see before. So like I said before, I was always the smartest person in the room, or the person who always had the answers, the person who everybody went to for advice. I never really had to, I guess, do better, because I was doing well according to everybody else. I was doing good, but I wasn't being excellent. Right. And so really working on being excellent challenged a lot of things that were comfortable and normal for me, for where I was. And one of those things was I had an emotional wall that was just, you could not get through that emotional wall. Like, to the point where, like Tiana said, there was no way in the world back then I could have been in something like this, because I wouldn't have let y'all in at all, you know. But really realizing that in myself, it was like, okay, now you need to switch some things up. Like, you need to take this wall down and be okay, like I said, with not being perfect, or be okay with being vulnerable with other people. And then just when I started to realize that I had to do that in order to really to be excellent or to reach certain levels of my potential, that's when the work started. I started reading more books. I started joining the coaching program. I started being more honest with my business coach, because even when I first started the coaching program, when we would get on the phone, I would be acting like, oh yeah, everything's great. So what I need though is for you to tell me how to, and she would be like, no, you know, she would check me. But even when I first started that program, I still had that complex of, I'm not going to tell you what's wrong with me. I'm gonna just tell you what I need and you give it to me. Mm-hmm. And just over time, I think I had a meltdown in June of 2016. And I was just so tired. Like, y'all ever just been so tired? Like, yes. I can't even find other words other than I was tired. It was just, I'm tired of going to work. I'm tired of everybody talking about how great it is that I have this youth program. I'm tired of everybody saying that I'm this, that, and the other, where I don't see that. Like, this is more to my life than this. Even if you think it's good, it's not good enough. Yes. You know, that feeling, I just broke down for real. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really, that's when I wrote my resignation letter for my job, and I put it on a wall next to my vision board. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but this got to happen. Like, I have to do this, because I have to just live my life and be who God called me to be. And that was tough. So that meant being vulnerable. That meant letting my business coach in my business. And that sounds crazy, but for real, it's like, you have to really let her in your business. Be like, look, I ain't make no money this month. None. So what's up? Like, how, you know, really tell her these things so that I can get the help that I needed. That even meant separating myself from things that triggered things in me. So that sometimes meant not spending time with people in my family, because being around them decreased me in a way. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't be vulnerable or transparent with where I was going with certain people. So that meant me really separating myself from certain people. And then even after doing that, again, when I left my job, a whole nother journey of getting to know yourself, because I said on the show before, like, the hardest thing in the world is to know who God called you to be, and to know to what magnitude, and not see it. Like, to be like, you, like, come on, God, like, you said this, like, this is the vision, this is what I'm working towards. Why can't I see it? Like, what's going on? I'm not making I'm about to start crying thinking about it. Like, I'm not making no money. Like, you told me to do this. Like, what is happening? I don't understand, and it's driving me crazy. And so I really had to, in that defining moment, and the work that needed to be done then was God. And having somebody like Tiana really helped me realize that, because in order for me to get to where I want to go, I have to do some things that I never did before, and really hold myself to an even higher level of accountability. And a lot of people listening, they might think that, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, Z and be successful. But each level requires, I'm hitting my stuff. Yeah, each level requires a different version of you. And you have to keep having these moments. You have to keep crying. You have to keep hitting brick walls. You have to really keep checking yourself, because you got to keep progressing. You're going to be regular, dagular, schmegula for all this time. No, for real. Yes. No, for real. And I didn't realize it until I met Tiana, just how important God was to the big picture. And it sounds crazy because, and I think it's, especially like as Black people in America, like Christians at least, God is just like, it's not necessarily taboo. You know, you go to church, everybody grandma make them go to church. You know what I mean? Like it's something that is just a part of culture, a part of your life. Right. But that relationship is something that's totally different. And it's something that's individualistic to the person. And a preacher can't teach you how to have a relationship with God. And then once you start, and then not even getting to the point of like knowing that you need a relationship and starting it. Once you start getting it, the transformation that happens is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like I was telling y'all, and I haven't even shared this on a podcast, like I've had clients or people that I've contracted as clients, and God straight up tell me don't work with them, and I gotta go back and X that off. Like, excuse me, I'm like, these bills gotta get paid. Like, what are you talking about? You know, and then having to make a decision to be obedient in the most uncomfortable situations where it's like, I'm trying to tell y'all, like, it is really a journey. It is such a journey in this entrepreneurship thing. And I don't think we've ever gotten this deep in the podcast. So shout out to y'all for really like bringing this out of me. But like, for real, my journey has just been just crazy. But one thing that I love about it is now because of you guys being more present in it. Because me, maybe like a year ago, wouldn't have even really been paying attention. It would have been like the next thing. But now just really being intentional about my journey is just like, is just really transformed me into a person that I always knew I wanted to be, that I always knew I could be, that I always said I was going to be, but to actually have the discipline to be digging up things deep inside of me that I would rather keep buried, to face things that I would rather not face, to, you know, to be obedient to things I don't want to do. Like, you know, that just has molded me into somebody that I just love so much. And even aside from loving who I am now, just to see where God has taken me is just like amazing. And to have people like Tiana and who prays for you, and Tish and Misha as well, who legit prays for you, like will send you a picture of the prayer and be like, hey, did I put this on the wall for you just so you know? So if it happened, let me know. When it happened, let me know, because I already talked to God about this. So for Tiana to send me a text message, hey, you know, I got a download for you, God told me this, that, and the other, just to know that you just have that covering is just so amazing. So anyway, I went off on a tangent. Go ahead.
Really quick, because it made me think about this in terms of like Mastermind, and in terms of knowing what God has called you to do, but not seeing it around you at all. Not even seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, you are just blindly walking in the dark and knowing that God is ordering your steps, but you don't see any evidence of this thing happening at all. And so I've also gone through this multiple times. And when you called me about it, I was telling you that. But one of the scriptures that the Lord gave me was Psalms 105:19. And in Psalms 105:19, this is where God tells Joseph all that he's going to do with him. All that this is what I promise you. This is who you're going to become. This is what you're going to do. This is the promise that is on your life. Get excited about this. And then, so throughout the whole 105, this is what he's talking about. Everything that he's going to do, everything that he's going to have. But when you get to verse 19, it says, until the vision came to pass, Joseph's character was tested. So, I mean, what you said is very true. In order for you to get what God promised you, you have to become a different version of yourself. You have to become a new person. Who you are right now, this is as far as she's going to go, because the person that you're going to be a year from now, that's going to require some changes. That's going to require some growth, some development, some mindset changes, you're going to have to get rid of some strongholds. You're going to have to get rid of limited beliefs. You're going to have to do a lot of that. And we're going to have to continuously do that as we grow in God. So it's nice to see what he is calling us to. That's the part you get excited about. But when you look at the work it's going to take to get there, that is when that separates the little girls from the real women.
And I think that 100% the work is the hardest part. When God gives you that vision, and when you are, like Tatum was saying, like I was just like, yes. Amen, praise God. Because you have the vision and it's there and you know it's coming because you trust, but your faith in the darkness, right? Like I did a whole podcast episode on that before, because sometimes you literally are walking in the complete darkness, pitch black darkness. And but the thing about God and just the thing about life, really, and this was revealed to me earlier this month, and I've been talking about it for the whole month, is about light. God gives you glimpses of light even in darkness. So if your eyes are open in pitch black darkness, you start seeing light because your eyes adjust to the light, right? So each one of y'all coming into my life, it was like, okay, God, I don't really know how this is going to work, and it's pitch black darkness, but here's a little sprinkle of light named Tiana, and here's a little sprinkle of light named Misha, here's a little sprinkle of light named Tatum, and like continuing to keep your eyes open to those kind of things. Like that is the power that this group has, because God gave little bits of light on the journey. At least in my life, it's like I needed that confirmation that I am on the right path. And here's one more person that can support you in that path that I told you. And here's another person, and here's how they can do it. So really being open-minded to those things and being open to your own growth will open you up to new people coming to your life, new things coming into your life. And I shared earlier when we were talking out there, is like sometimes the old people in your life are draining you and you don't even know it. They're in the background. It's like on your phone when you got apps running, you ain't even realize they're app, and you're like, why is my phone dead? Yes. Like, I just charged my phone. Like, why am I on 50% already? You got stuff running in the background that is draining you, and you don't even know it. But then you find power sources. You find additional power sources. I'm just saying, you find additional power sources to plug in. And when you start closing out those old apps and getting rid of those old people, and you make room, God will continue to keep you charged up and ready to go for what he has for you, for the vision that he gave you. So that is the power of this mastermind group. And I just believe that everybody can have something like this, but as we're sharing like what we go through in our personal journeys and things, you notice we also, we're doing the work. Like we ain't just show up faith like
our works is dead. You can have faith all you
ding
want,
dong dead.
But if you ain't putting your fingers, your feet, those ideas to use, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can just be the faithful person that's still standing still because that's what's going to happen. Can I just say one thing about obedience? Because you talked about that. Mm-hmm. I think that is the most overlooked thing in entrepreneurship. It's like, I have the faith, I believe, I'm going to walk it out. But the obedience and the small things is what separates, I said it before, the little girls from the women, because to be able to, your business is starting to grow and for you to be turning people away, clients that you want, clients that quite frankly, you may feel like you need, and God is like, no, that right there, that is a trusting exercise. That's a character test. All of that all wrapped into one. And I always relate things to Bible stories, y'all. So I think about when Moses was supposed to lead. We always talk about leading the people out to the promised land. Moses was the one who was leading, and Moses, he got frustrated with the people and he wasn't able to go into the promised land, but God called Joshua. Now, Joshua was the one who carried it out, but he had this crazy task, and I would even feel stupid doing it, just to be honest. They had to march around the city 7 times for 7 days.
But don't y'all feel like God be having us do
that? I don't marched around more than 7.
You march around the city 7 times for 7 days, and then on the 7th day, you blow the trumpet and the wall's gonna fall down. Like, how many people would go the 3rd day around and then get frustrated and not make it to the 7th day? How many people would feel like this is stupid? Like, obedience is the point. Obedience is the thing in your life that allows you to be able to speak to those things in your life and call them to move out your way. That is so. Obedience is a big part of the entrepreneurship journey, the mastermind journey. If you're going to get anything that God promised you, you're going to need to be obedient. And sometimes obedience is hard. Sometimes because God is building character in that time, and you just have to trust. You have to know at the end of the day that the source of your success, the source of your relationship, the source of your business is all in his hands. And when you do it that way, that's when the prosperity begins to come. That's because no matter if you lose it all today, you know you can make it back tomorrow, because you know the one who gave it to you the first time is the one who can do it. You know the one who sent you those clients can send you 1,000 more. So it's really about obedience, and it's also about the character being built. You're not gonna move forward without that.
Yeah.
Come through Proverbs 31, boss.
For real though. and even to piggyback off that, like I feel like one of the reasons why I have been just kind of had to be stripped down of my ego, to let me call it what it is, my ego, was because I've been taking care of myself for so long. Like I've been making sure I'm good forever. So now for me to be like what's going on, or in that moment before, like, you know, what's going on, God had to show me that I can't do everything for myself. Right. You know, he has to be, and I have to not only does he have to be the one to supply it, but I have to recognize that and appreciate it so that it can continue. You know, I can pray one time, but I have to keep praying. I have to keep believing, keep being obedient and things like that. And something that I learned you know, from you, Tiana, and then just even from my walk with God now, is the power that's in that. Like beyond just the faith and the scriptures and the prayers and stuff like that, just the power that you get from being obedient, from being faithful. Like, and you said this, and I want to quote you correctly, but you were like, once you become a righteous person, or once you have faith in God and are obedient to God, then you have the power to be able to speak to things and they move. And that's something that you told me, and that's something that I just realized, even as my prayers have changed. You know, I went from God is grace, God is good. You know, the elementary joint.
For real, because people are still saying those.
Or, Lord, if you get me out of this one, I promise I won't go to his house again. Like, you know, Lord, God promises if you just let this hangover go away, I ain't never drinking again. You know, we all done said that one a few times. But now to the point where it's like, you know, God, in your words, you said X, Y, Z, and you, because I've been obedient in X, Y, Z, you know, I know that this blessing is promised to me. Like, I know that wealth is promised to me because of the commitment you made with my ancestors. Like, I know that you will give me the desires of my heart because that's what you said. You know, I know you came to give me life and give it abundantly. I know I'm supposed to be rich because you said it.
That's right.
And you said that you wanted me to be obedient. You said that you wanted me to do X, Y, Z. I did it. Look, I ain't want to do it either. So what's up? Like, you know, at this point, it's like, come on, I'm doing all of these things. So I need you to hold up your end of the bargain. Like, those are the type of praise that I'm praying now. And then the things that just come and the peace that just comes with it. You know, when you really surrender your business, and that has nothing to do with being perfect. That has nothing to do with never sinning again. That has nothing to do with you being perfect all the time. It has everything to do with you literally just surrendering it all. Because every day I pray, like when y'all see me up at 5 a.m., before I even do business, I'm praying, I'm reading the word, because that's what I've been tasked to do, is to really understand what it says. But one of my things is like, you know, God, I thank you for giving me the strength to surrender my business, and I pray for the strength to allow you to keep it. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just being real, because I'm the type, I'll surrender it, but then tomorrow I'll be like I want that back. Yeah, can I do this? Can I get this back? Because I'm trying to do yada, yada, yada. So it's like a continuous thing to keep it there. But it really just takes a certain level of commitment from us as women, from you guys listening, to really just surrender your business to God. Really just decide, what do you want for your life, and what you trying to do to get it. It's way more than listening to this podcast every week. It's way more than being up on time. It's way more than posting the right stuff on Instagram. Like, it's a lot of character things that need to happen before you see what you're actually asking for. And so many people are not really willing to be broken down like that.
He's not going to give you what you want if you can't handle it. You can get it, but you'll lose it just as quickly as you get it. It has to be, the character has to be built there. I think this is like a really important thing to touch on. And that's why the mastermind is so important. Because you going through that journey, like, we all know each other's individual struggles. Yes, we dominate in certain areas, but there are some areas where we need to brush up on. And, you know, it's important for you to have somebody that will say, hey, have you prayed about it? Or, hey, have you, what are you going to do to celebrate this moment? I know you want to just check it off your list. Or, hey, when was the last time you worked out? What's going on? You know, so and for you to be able to receive it, it definitely has to be a divine connection. You have to know that as you surrender your business to God and your journey to God, you have to be able to ask him to bring the right people into your space. And that's basically what we have here.
I want to say something about time. Now, as far as time, you have to watch where you invest your time and who you invest your time in. Yeah. You don't want to waste your time because time is something that you can't get back at all. And as far as you know, sometimes we get upset when we make certain mistakes and we regret certain things in our past. I always say, use your past, your history as education so you won't make those same mistakes. So that's a part of growth, knowing where to, invest your time and using your history as education to know how not make those same mistakes in the future.
Absolutely. Do you want to add anything to this?
No, y'all got me over here. Just...
You ready to run around the building.
Yeah, and I think for all of y'all that's listening who may be excited about hearing the things that we've been saying for the last, I don't even know how long we've been talking, but really just pray about this. Really, really pray for connections like this for your life, and pray for you to grow, to be able to receive it. Because like we said, we were not always able to have this type of relationship that we have together. So, I'm just grateful that you guys are here. I just want to publicly just say how much I love you guys, how much I appreciate you guys. I'm excited for Miami.
Yes, we're going to turn up.
Yes,
turn
exactly.
Up. And educate, though.
Yeah.
Turn up and educate.
Yes.
It's so great to be able to do what you love with people you love.
Yes.
It is.
Say that in the mic one more time.
It is so great to be able to do what you love with people you love. Not be around people that you don't like, not going to hang around a boss that you can't stand, but to really just own and dominate what you do and to do it with people that you love, that you can turn up with, and that you can really inspire and impact other people with. It's such a blessing. And to be able to go to Miami and do it.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I heard we was going to Trinidad. Is that what I just read? Because she listens every week. She gonna hear this. She gonna bring us down.
Book us in Trinidad, please.
We working on that.
Okay, guys, so thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Black Girl Boss Podcast. Milan and I will be back dropping gems next week, and that's it. Oh, you guys, tell them how they can follow you on Instagram or anything that you're offering right now.
So you can follow me on Instagram at letitia.carr, or you can check out my website, letitiacarr.com. I'm coming to Philadelphia for self-care in the city. So if you're in the Philly area, make sure you check out my page so you can get your ticket to come through. And also, if you want to get connected with the self-care plan and getting those things together, make sure you reach out to me via my website and download your simple self-care plan.
Hi guys, this is Tiana. I am on Facebook and Instagram as Tiana K. Blyden. That's spelled Tiona. I know that's a different way to spell it, but that's me. So one of the things that I'm offering right now, I'm so excited. I have the Proverbs 31 Boss Planner. I have some free downloads that you guys can download to check the planner out before you order it. It's going to be out 2018. Equipped with a vision board and ways in which you can keep God first every single day while just planning out your day for your business and your family, but just keeping God first. So I look forward to you guys getting that.
Hey, you guys, my name is Misha Saunders, but you can find me on Instagram as Misha the Body Chemist. I know y'all probably don't know how to spell Misha. It's Mica, the Body Chemist. So that's me on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Misha Saunders, Mica, Saunders, Saunders. And what I'm giving away right now on my website, Break Up the Shape Up, that's Break Up with the number 2, shapeup.com. I'm giving away a free meal plan. You can download that on my landing page. The link is in my bio on my Instagram page.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. And we will be back with another episode next week.